No, I've got, thanks. I actually came prepared.
Ooh, no good.
Hello, Tony.
All right.
I was gonna call you yesterday, but I got up.
How are you?
She's gonna be late.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. She's gonna be late. Oh. Yeah, she's gonna be late. She's gonna come in when she. No, go ahead. Start. Oh. Just come in.
She's going to be late, and we're going to start. Good afternoon. I would like to welcome everyone to the October 1st, 2025 Budget and Finance Committee of the Putnam County Legislature. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to request Mr. Yonke, Legislator Yonke, to lead the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and please remain standing. I would like to recognize Legislator Elner to lead us in the legislature.
We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community and fellow citizens. Amen.
I'll now ask the clerk to take roll call, please.
Present.
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 Here.
Present.
Here.
Present. Present. So thank you all for coming today. The purpose of this meeting today, Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, is for the county executive to transmit the 2026 tentative budget to the legislature. Pursuant to the Putnam County Charter, the county executive and the commissioner of finance are required to meet with the Budget and Finance Committee within 5 days after the transmittal of the tentative budget to review that document with the committee. I would now like to introduce our Director of Personnel and a former county executive, Paul Eldridge, who will recognize the elected officials in attendance this afternoon. Welcome.
Wow, thank you. And thank you, Chairwoman Sage. Well, good early afternoon, beautiful fall afternoon today. I want to welcome everyone. It's once again my honor and privilege to recognize some of our special guests with us today, that being our elected officials. Forgive me if I miss anybody. I think I got everybody. I've had 3 scouts out there making sure that I got everybody. So I want to start with our U.S. Congress member, Mike Laws, being represented by our legislator, Erin Crowley. Our New York State Senator, Rob Rollison, is being represented by Lydia Biscoe. Lydia? Representing himself, the New York State Assembly 94th District is Matt Slater. You do a fine job with that, Matt, by the way. I'd like to also introduce some of our countywide officials. We have our county clerk, Michael Bartolotti. We have our district attorney, Robert Tendy is with us here today. We have our acting sheriff, Brian Hess is with us today. We have our county coroner. Once before I forgot to introduce you, Mike, but not this time. Our coordinator of coroners, Mike Neshawat, Dr. Neshawat. I'd also like to recognize the Town of Kent Supervisor, Jamie McGlasson. And along with her, Town Board member, Sean Boyd. And we also have with us our Supervisor of the Town of Putnam Valley, Jackie Anabi. I think I got everybody, fingers crossed. I want to welcome you, and I'll pass it back to the Chairwoman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eldridge. It is my pleasure now to introduce our County Executive, Kevin Byrne, to present the 2026 proposed budget to the Legislature.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As is required by Section 7 of the Putnam County Charter and alluded to earlier, but also earlier, really just earlier, about 15 minutes ago, not even, I submitted to the legislative clerk our administration's proposed executive budget, also known as the county's tentative budget for the fiscal year 2026. Chairwoman Sage, members of the legislature, thank you for scheduling this legislative meeting. To those watching remotely, I appreciate you tuning in. To everybody here in person, many of whom are our remarkable department heads and county employees, thank you for being here and for being the dedicated public servants our community deserves. Later this evening marks the beginning of Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year in the Jewish faith. To our Jewish friends and neighbors who may be joining us here on our live stream, thank you. Or in person, know that your presence means a great deal. Before we dive into the details of this year's budget, I must start by recognizing a truly special group of individuals, our team at the Finance Department. As many of you know, not long ago, our longtime Commissioner of Finance, Bill Carlin, retired after decades of distinguished service to Putnam County. But this year, when the call came, Bill answered. He came out of retirement to step up and once again serve the people of Putnam County as our Finance Commissioner. That alone speaks volumes about his commitment to this county and his sense of duty. Commissioner Carlin has been a steady hand, a trusted advisor, and someone I deeply value, not just for his institutional knowledge, but for his integrity and unwavering dedication to the taxpayers of Putnam. Of course, Bill will be the first to tell you that he does not do this work alone. His deputies, Sheila Barrett and Alex Gordon, along with the entire finance team, worked tirelessly over the past several months to assist in preparing this budget. Their expertise, professionalism, and long hours behind the scenes are the reason this process moves forward with transparency, accountability, and precision. So today, I'd like to ask Commissioner Carlin, Deputy Commissioner Barrett, Deputy Commissioner Gordon, and every member of the Finance Department here with us to please stand and be recognized, and ask everyone join me in giving them a big round of applause for their extraordinary service. I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the auditor for the county, which is a branch of the legislature, Michelle Sharkey, who participates in every single one of these budget meetings that we have throughout the last several months. Please recognize and acknowledge Michelle Sharkey, the county's auditor. Additionally, I wouldn't be much of an executive boss if I didn't recognize my own team in the executive branch. Among all of our department heads, I also want to give special recognition to the remarkable team in our executive office who have been instrumental during this year's budget process. Deputy County Executive Jim Burpo, Chief of Staff Dane Pascacello, Confidential Secretary Lisa Rangeli, Communications Director Chris Formasano, Director of Compliance Jennifer Caruso, and our ace in the hole who chips in where and when she can, Barbara Reitz. Thank you all. Our goals with this budget, and indeed with every budget, remain the same: to provide our residents with a more affordable, accountable, accessible, and active county government that serves us all. We know all too well the challenges our families face. While inflation is finally beginning to flatten out, costs of goods and services remain painful for residents. Prices at the pump and groceries are still expensive. The cost of energy continues to rise, with proposed rate hikes looming before the state's Public Service Commission. The purchase of a new home remains at an all-time high, with the average age of first-time home buyers now 38 years old. Everything stretches household budgets thin. And then there is the crushing weight of New York State's tax climate. I've shared these metrics before, but sadly, our state's position has not improved. The Tax Foundation's 2025 State Business Tax Climate Index ranks New York dead last, 50th out of all states. This is actually worse than previous years when we ranked 49th, just above New Jersey. But alas, we've sank as low as we can go. And similarly, the Rich States, Poor States report once again places New York at the very bottom, ranked 50th for economic outlook. These are sobering reminders of what it means to live, work, and do business in our state. They are also reminders of why it is so important that county government does what it can, no matter how modest it may appear, to relieve some of that burden. And we've worked to do just that. When costs were climbing, we made the decision to cut taxes in the budget for the first time in 25 years. We held the property tax levy flat and cut the rate to its lowest level in 18 years. We eliminated all county sales tax on clothing and footwear under $110, making it less regressive and providing meaningful relief to those most affected from inflation. We also took a hard look at our own operations. From consolidating and centralizing purchasing across departments to putting delinquent foreclosed properties back on the tax rolls, this administration has consistently found ways to maximize the value of a dollar and further protect taxpayers. We've managed to do all of this without having to sacrifice services or neglect our hardworking public employees. When interest rates skyrocketed, we chose a different path, responsibly using our capital reserve fund to finance major projects instead of relying on more costly borrowing. That decision continues to save us millions in future interest payments and is accounted for in this proposed budget. It also maintains our strong financial condition, which reflects positively on our county's AA1 bond rating from Moody's. To date, this administration, working with the legislature, has already drastically reduced the county's debt. When we took office in 2023, the county was in a strong financial position, but also it had a long-term debt of over $51 million. This budget includes a large expenditure to pay off the bonds associated with the county golf course. And if we continue forward with our successful practice of limiting new borrowing, the county will have a projected long-term debt of $21.6 million by the end of next year. This dramatic decrease in debt, $29.4 million, a 58% decrease, demonstrates our commitment to fiscal responsibility while providing needed services without saddling future generations with more debt. We've also seized opportunities to stretch dollars further by using our own talented workforce. In more recent years, the Department of Public Works supported major facility renovations with its team in-house. Look no further than major improvements to the future homes of the Youth Bureau and Cornell Cooperative Extension at Tilly Foster Farm. By leveraging the skills and expertise of our own crews, we are helping to deliver a product that residents can be proud of. That's in addition to the tremendous work they do supervising our licensed contractors to strengthen our infrastructure. The Peekskill Hollow Road project, a nightmare we had inherited with no work being done when we took office. It's now completed. The long talked about Sprout Brook Bridge project in Continental Village, as recently as last week, Legislator Montgomery knows, now completed. The new Lieutenant Michael Nooner Fire and EMS training facility serving all our local emergency service agencies, now completed and in use. Visitors can see major progress at Veterans Memorial Park, where we are building a new Veterans Museum. And importantly, new ADA improvements, including curb cuts, a handicap ramp, handicap bathrooms, complemented by a new courtyard patio outside the county office building, all completed and in use. Time and again, we have led by demonstrating how smart, disciplined management can stretch taxpayer dollars further, deliver meaningful relief, and keep Putnam County on strong financial footing. And as proud as I am of those accomplishments, this year, as I promised in my State of the County address back in March, we go even further. Today, I am proud to announce that this budget delivers the largest property tax cut in Putnam County's history. Last year, we continued all our previous tax cuts, kept the levy flat, and cut the property tax rate to its lowest level in 18 years. This year, we're not just holding the line, we're doing more. With this budget, we are providing a record $1 million cut to the property tax levy, the most significant property tax cut in Putnam County's history by far. This tax cut will slash the rate to 2.39, the lowest property tax rate since 2007. In this budget, we are collecting approximately $45 million from the county's property tax levy, and our team is projecting an estimated $83.5 million in sales tax revenue. That number could have been devastatingly smaller, if not for the historic compromise forged between this administration, our state legislators, local supervisors, mayors, highway superintendents, and this county legislature to preserve our long-established sales tax rate and share sales tax revenue with local municipalities. After removing administrative chargebacks that are tracked for full transparency of department spending, our financial plan for fiscal year 2026 comes together to form a $221.7 million budget. It is a substantial number, but importantly, Putnam County remains the lowest spending per capita when compared to other Hudson Valley counties. This figure is driven by factors that are outside of our control, including inflation, energy costs, and unfunded mandates. It also includes costs to delivering on commitments previously made by members of this legislature as well as this administration. We are budgeting for overdue adjustments to employee salaries and benefits, increases in the county's public insurance premiums, a record number of mandated 730 cases in social services, 2 new school resource officers, and the aforementioned sales tax revenue distribution to towns and villages, which by itself accounts for over $2 million in new spending. Perhaps most notably, though, is a $4.7 million expense to finally pay down the remaining debt from acquiring the county golf course back in 2004. By taking bold steps to pay off this debt now, Putnam County will save hundreds of thousands of dollars in future interest payments, while simultaneously freeing itself of the cumbersome federal restrictions associated with these bonds, enabling the county to enter into more favorable commercial-style contracts with its vendors in the future, a benefit to both county taxpayers and transparency. While we have managed to account for all of these, each one represents a significant new increase in our budget. This budget, our county's fiscal future, really is built on the foundation of the historic compromise with local leaders to keep our existing sales tax rate, share a portion of the revenue with towns and villages. Had we not reached a consensus and acted as we did, Putnam County would have turned away over $21 million in sales tax revenue, which would have forced us to raise property taxes, cut services, and excessively rely on our fund balance. But we avoided this crisis scenario. We forged a compromise, and we created a path forward that benefits every resident, every town, every village. We are delivering on the promise of the largest property tax cut in Putnam County's history, and keeping these dollars in Putnam County to support local capital projects and improvements, further incentivizing economic development and growth, all while relying less on property taxes from our homeowners. Under this agreement, 1/9 of the county's 1% sales tax extension, symbolic of our 6 towns and 3 villages, will be distributed back to municipalities, with each guaranteed a minimum of $50,000 annually. This was a team effort, and for all those involved and to all who ultimately supported it, even if it wasn't your first choice, thank you. You all deserve a round of applause. It wasn't easy getting this done. It required hard conversations. But in the end, the product was one that provided tax relief where it matters, and the largest property tax cut in our history. I'd like to again thank the mayors and supervisors who stood united in support of the sales tax plan and helped make this possible. And I especially want to extend my gratitude to our partners in the state legislature. I want to start with my dear friend, because he's here, Assemblyman Matt Slater. Not to diminish the roles of our other state legislators, Senator Peter Harcum, Senator Rob Rollison, and Assemblywoman Dana Levenberg. Our representatives worked across party lines to ensure the enabling state legislation became law. Without them, this moment would not have been possible. Thank you all. By partnering with our towns and villages who help drive and approve economic development projects, and by keeping the sales tax rate flat at the same competitive rate it has been for years, we can reduce our dependence on property taxes. That's how we provide tax relief where it matters, at the local level, where families and individuals feel it directly. Looking ahead, our sales tax revenue projections account for something else important: extending the county's sales tax exemption on clothing and footwear under $110. Originally set to expire in March of 2026, with this budget, I am asking the legislature to support our proposal to extend the exemption for another full fiscal year through March of 2027. This has provided real relief for residents, especially working families and growing children who shop online or in Putnam County. As I've said before, this kind of sales tax is particularly regressive. It disproportionately impacts those who can least afford it. Eliminating it ensures that a new pair of shoes, a winter coat, or back-to-school clothes doesn't come with an added financial penalty from government. Members of this legislature embraced this initiative in 2023, and I ask them to do so again. It is a small step, but for families already stretched thin during hard economic times, it matters a great deal. Of course, tax relief like this doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of disciplined choices, smart management, and a willingness to think differently. Nowhere is this more true than in our new Putnam County Early Learning Center, a Think Differently initiative that I first announced in my State of the County address back in March. Think Differently is a movement to change the way individuals, businesses, and governments think about and treat people of every ability, including those with intellectual and developmental needs. By government standards, the idea of announcing something in early spring and having it successfully open its doors by September is nothing short of miraculous. Some people doubted it could be done, but we proved the naysayers wrong and accomplished something truly special. Along the way, we faced some setbacks that included miles of bureaucratic red tape, ill-informed opposition, and of course, a devastating storm in July that damaged the future site in Patterson. Mother Nature herself tested our resolve, but we persevered. Together, we moved forward with the original plan of utilizing community-based services temporary space for this fall semester and found a path forward for the future, working around the clock to make sure this school would open on time for our children and families. And it did. This September, the doors open to Putnam County's first ever combined special needs and pre-K center for early learning. Today, students are learning in a safe, welcoming environment, and we have the capacity to grow. Families who once had to put their children on exhausting hours-long bus rides outside the county now have access to quality early education closer to home. Taxpayers, too, will benefit with hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings in avoided transportation costs. This success would not have been possible without our partners at Community-Based Services. They opened their doors, gave up their own office space to house this center of learning, and continue to provide outstanding services and programming for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Their generosity and partnership turned this vision into a reality. It was a true team effort across many levels of government. A huge thank you goes to Senator Harkin and his office, who helped us cut through the state's red tape, and to Patterson Town Supervisor Rich Williams, who worked hard right up to the last hour to make this project possible. But the most praise belongs to our team in the health department. Director Rion Rodriguez, Shanna Siegel, and of course, Valerie Kurtz worked tirelessly to champion this initiative and worked every step of the way to make this happen. They never lost sight of the children and families this would serve, and their persistence is the reason this dream is now a reality. This is what it looks like to think differently. When we refuse to let obstacles stop us, when we put the needs of children and families first, and when we explore new opportunities to save taxpayer money. Another example of successfully looking for savings is in the creation of our Department of General Services, which we established last year by merging purchasing, central services, and information technology into one streamlined department. Under this administration, these divisions already worked hand in hand every day, and by consolidating them, we made county government more efficient and more accountable. Since taking the reins, Commissioner John Tully has led the charge to find savings wherever possible. He's been negotiating stronger contracts, driving down costs through more comprehensive competitive bidding and securing rebates that in the past had been inadvertently left on the table. For example, by negotiating down the cost from large proposals on microtransit and jail medical services, DGS has already secured over $500,000 in long-term savings. Commissioner Tully is also responsible for a major shift in how we as a county manage our fleet of vehicles. Instead of purchasing cars outright, which have heavy upfront costs and mounting maintenance expenses as they age, we've moved to a leasing model. This approach provides our employees with more reliable, safe vehicles while saving taxpayer dollars year after year. That is in addition to the hard work of our Information and Technology Division at DGS, led by Director Tom Lannon, who, after many years of work, completed the programming and distribution of radios acquired by the county to support not only our county agencies, but local fire, EMS, and police agencies as well. Putnam County did this because it could, and it was the right thing to do. Over $2.2 million were spent to distribute over 400 radios to 4 local police departments, 13 fire agencies, and 5 EMS agencies, with the vast majority of the programming being done in-house by county personnel. Another savings to taxpayers by lifting this burden off of our local governments. This type of work may not grab flashy headlines, but know that it makes a real difference. Another example of how we are thinking differently is in the delivery of life-saving medical services to our most vulnerable residents. Back in 2023, we entered into a new contract for countywide advanced life support services. That contract set Putnam County apart from most counties across the state. Years ago, Putnam was the first county government in New York to directly fund countywide paramedic services, sparing our towns and villages from shouldering that enormous financial burden. Now, over $3 million a year. It was the right thing to do and has been a vital service for our residents. That said, we know we can improve upon the current system. That is why we are updating our current contract to launch a community paramedicine pilot program. Community paramedicine takes paramedics out of the traditional respond and transport model and empowers them to serve in expanded roles. These professionals will assist with public health, primary care, and preventative services right in people's homes, especially for our seniors, homebound residents, and those struggling with chronic conditions. That means fewer unnecessary emergency calls and fewer costly ER visits, which not only equates to savings for taxpayers, but a better quality of life for our residents. Services could include things like wound care, medication adjustments, blood draws, even telehealth consultations, and fall prevention efforts. It's about meeting residents where they are, literally at their doorsteps, to provide the care they need before a crisis ever occurs. It's about ensuring that no matter your age, income, or circumstance, you can count on Putnam County to have your back. And it's worth noting that this program already has the full support of the Putnam County EMS Council. Another area where we have embraced innovation is in public transit. Earlier this year, we launched Putnam On Demand, the Hudson Valley's first ever demand response microtransit system. Instead of running an underutilized, inefficient fixed bus route, we introduced a flexible app-based service where residents can book rides through an app or by calling in, all just for $2.50 or $1.25 for seniors and students. The results speak for themselves. In just a few months, ridership has more than doubled, while our cost per rider has been cut in half. This service connects people to where they need to go, Metro North stations, shopping centers, schools, medical appointments, and the county clerk's office, to name a few. And with 2 wheelchair-accessible vans already in the fleet serving as both ride-hailing and paratransit options. This program has already quickly gained recognition, even beyond our borders. Last month, Hudson Valley Pattern for Progress honored Putnam On Demand with its prestigious Progress in Action Award at their 60th anniversary celebration. That award affirms what we already know. Smart planning and innovation can deliver a better product for our residents while saving taxpayers' money. Please give a big round of applause to our team at the Planning, Development, and Transportation Department. But this is just the beginning. We are already set to conduct a county-wide public transit study, which I believe will ultimately yield the results we need to expand on-demand service to other parts of Putnam County. That study is key to bringing such a plan to the federal government to secure transit funding, which would assist in covering the cost of a true county-wide on-demand transit option. And we know we already have friends at the Federal Transit Administration. Look no further than the FTA's newest administrator, Mark Molinaro, who attended our State of the County presentation at Ace Endico in Southeast earlier this year. With Putnam On Demand, we've shown that we can take a broken system, replace it with something modern and efficient, and improve quality of life for residents. Of course, none of these successes would be possible without the people who make county government run every single day, our county employees. That's why this administration has made it a priority, not just to recruit new talent, but to retain and support the dedicated employees who serve our residents. Over the past 2 years, we've taken real steps to show our employees that they are valued. We reinstated the Employee Recognition Program to celebrate excellence and dedication. We've made record investments to upgrade work facilities, ensuring our employees have safe, modern spaces to do their jobs. And we reached long-term labor agreements by finalizing multi-year contracts with all 4 of our collective bargaining units, giving employees confidence while protecting taxpayers with sustainable agreements. We've also worked to make county employment more competitive. Most recently, for our newer employees, I successfully negotiated reduced health insurance contribution costs in all labor contracts, easing one of the largest cost burdens for our employees. I'd like to thank all the members of the advisory committee who worked diligently to present their findings to me, which ultimately led to my decision and proposal presently before the legislature. Thank you to Chris York, Bill Carlin, Jim Burpo, Shanna Siegel, Cindy Trimble, and Pat Sheehy. We now go, yeah. We now have memorandums of agreement signed and agreed to by each labor unit, me, and in the cases of the PBA and PCSEA, Acting Sheriff Brian Hess. This proposal is before the legislature for its consideration and is reflected in this budget. Earlier this year, Putnam County also funded an independent salary study across departments to ensure pay scales reflect market realities. That study recommended a series of salary adjustments to help us stay competitive with neighboring counties so we can attract and retain the best talent possible. This was overdue, but leaders take care of their team first. It was important to me as county executive that this study be completed, including a review of positions for management and elected officials, but only after all labor contracts were settled. And that is precisely what this administration did. When we have a competent, engaged workforce, our residents receive better service. From 911 dispatchers to highway crews to caseworkers, nurses, and every person in between, it is our public employees who turn our policies into reality. Investing in them isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. And it's how we ensure that the work we've talked about today, whether it is the Early Learning Center or Putnam On Demand, is delivered with excellence and pride. For decades, our workforce has been bolstered by two individuals who are here today, Bob Lipton and Paul Eldridge. Soon, Bob Lipton, our Commissioner of the Bureau of Emergency Services, will retire after more than a decade of service to Putnam County. Commissioner Lipton has been a selfless first responder and leader during storms, wildfires, earthquakes, and more. He has worked to modernize our emergency response systems, strengthen coordination among our first responders, and keep our residents safe. His steady leadership and calm demeanor have made all the difference during some of the toughest moments we have faced as a county. Bob will be sorely missed, but his legacy will live on in the strength of the department he leaves behind. Bob, is that you? Thanks, Evac. Soon, I already said that, Bob. You're good. I got your shout out. We are also preparing to say farewell to one of Putnam County's longest serving public servants, our personnel director, Paul Eldridge, who will be retiring early next year. He is the most senior department head in our county government, the most senior county employee, and a man whose experience and knowledge are unmatched anywhere in New York. Paul is more than just a department head. He is a legend among his colleagues across the state. Over his decades of service, he has been a mentor, a counselor, and a steady hand guiding Putnam County through tough times of change. Paul even briefly served as Putnam County's 4th county executive and currently serves on the Board of Ethics, bringing the same integrity and wisdom to those roles that he has shown throughout his career. His breadth of experience, his institutional memory, and his dedication to public service have made him an invaluable resource not only for this administration, but for every administration before it. Bob and Paul represent the very best of public service. They have given their careers to this county, and on behalf of a grateful community, I want to say thank you. Putnam County is stronger, safer, and better because of your service. I think it's also important to acknowledge both legislators, Yankee and Elner, are here participating in their final executive budget presentation at the legislature. And I want to extend, on behalf of the people of Putnam County, thanking them for their time and service. We wish them well. The health and safety of our employees will always be paramount, as is the health of our residents. And so, another priority we continue to advance, and one that I believe is critical for the future of this county, is the creation of a stabilization center here in Putnam. This has been a long and arduous process. It started with my predecessor, County Executive Odell, and members of the Putnam County Legislature committing $2.5 million in federal stimulus funding to support the startup costs of this project, so no direct county funding is spent. Multiple updates and presentations have already been provided to the public and members of this legislature, including on the proposed location. I am grateful for your support. Still, the red tape has been daunting, and the hurdles have been many. Yet we are committed, alongside our partners at People USA, to break through those barriers and make this a reality. Every year, our community health needs assessment tells us the same story. Our community does not just need more providers of mental health services. We need easier, earlier access to support for those willing to start their mental health journey. What we lack is a place where individuals, especially our young people, can go at the first signs of struggle. A welcoming environment where peaceful conversations flourish. That is exactly what a stabilization center provides. The model was pioneered in Dutchess County by my friend, former county executive Mark Molinaro. In Dutchess, the stabilization center has proven to be a safe, welcoming facility. This is a place where people can walk in on their own or with their family to receive immediate care and support. According to People USA, during the school year, over 50% of their clientele are children under the age 18 years old. That alone tells us everything we need to know about the importance of this effort. And frankly, I don't need an assessment or statistics to know that our county is hurting. We all see it. Our youth are struggling. They were locked away for years during the COVID-19 pandemic, and now we are witnessing the consequences of those failed lockdowns. Anxiety, depression, despair, these are not abstract concepts, they are daily realities for too many families in this county. That is why we must build this center. So instead of ultimately ending up in a hospital ER or worse, our children and neighbors who need help can walk into a warm, non-hospital-like environment and be met by caring professionals who can help them connect to services, heal, and move forward. This stabilization center is needed and will be self-sufficient once it is open and running. And with perseverance, partnership, and the will to overcome bureaucratic barriers, I am determined to see this strictly voluntary facility open its doors, because in Putnam County, mental health matters. Another hallmark of our beautiful county, the Row of Honor. For more than a decade, it has stood as one of the most moving and patriotic displays around. Periodically, throughout the year, hundreds of American flags line the banks of Lake Oneida and Carmel, creating a powerful tribute to our military heroes. Year after year, residents, veterans, and visitors see the display, reflect on the sacrifices of our service members, and remember those who never came home. But in the recent years, the Row of Honor has begun to show its age. The elements have taken their toll, and the flags and hardware have weathered to the point where repairs are no longer enough. Preserving this cherished tradition requires more than patchwork. It requires a new commitment. That is why our Veteran Service Agency, under the leadership of Director Carl Rohde and Deputy Director Tanya Pinella, has worked to identify more durable, weather-resistant flags and holders that will preserve the Row of Honor for future generations. Members of the legislature already approved an expenditure to fund these improvements earlier this year, and we thank them. But because Carl and Tanya are busier than ever doing the important work of helping veterans and their families access the benefits they deserve, supporting our veterans' residents, and outfitting a new veterans museum, among many other responsibilities, we want to bolster this program by formalizing the support it also needs and receives through the county's Parks Division at DPW, the very same division that maintains our beautiful Veterans Memorial Park, including the remarkable monuments that call it home. In doing so, I am asking the legislature for its support to formally renew its commitment to the Row of Honor. This program was first rolled out by my predecessor administratively, but it deserves to have its place in law to ensure it remains sustainable for years to come. That's why I'm asking the legislature to codify the Row of Honor's existence into law. The Row of Honor has always been a community-driven tradition. By formally supporting this program, we are ensuring it remains a living tribute, cared for, preserved, and strengthened for years to come. And on the topic of fallen heroes, today's address is my first without a key public servant in the audience. Just over a month ago, our county suffered the loss of one of its most dedicated public servants, Sheriff Kevin McConville. Sheriff McConville dedicated more than 40 years of his life to protecting and serving the people of this county and state. From his decades of service with the MTA Police Department, where he rose to the rank of chief, to his leadership as Putnam County Sheriff, Kevin McConville was the embodiment of honor, professionalism, and quiet strength. He built new partnerships with organizations like CPAB, the Community Engagement Police Advisory Board, during times of immense stress in communities across the country. CPAB has been a great partner for our county, and Sheriff McConville relied on their leadership often. Sheriff McConville's passing left a void in our community. He was not only a trusted law enforcement officer, but also a mentor, a colleague, and a friend to many. That is why today I am proud to announce that in partnership with Acting Sheriff Brian Hess and in consultation with the McConville family, we are presenting to the legislature for its consideration legislation to dedicate and rename the Putnam County Sheriff's Office substation in Nelsonville in his honor. I want to ask Acting Sheriff Brian Hess if you'd like to come up, and we'll bring up a rendering to unveil. If the McConville family would like to come up, you're welcome. No, Ronnie, Kevin's brother, is retired law enforcement, New York State Police, correct? Thank you for being here, Ronnie. The Kevin J. McConville, Putnam County Sheriff's Department, Nelsonville Station. It's got a nice ring to it. This is more than a name on a building. It is a lasting tribute to a man who devoted his life to public safety, to his community, into the values of integrity and service. Future generations of deputies, residents, and visitors will see his name and be reminded of the standard he set and the legacy he left behind. I would like to once again acknowledge our new acting sheriff, Brian Hess, and under sheriff, James Menton. In a short period of time, you have shown yourselves to be true professionals. Thank you for stepping up to take on this enormous responsibility. Putnam County is truly lucky to have you both, and of course, lucky to have the men and women who protect and serve in your department. Another item in this budget addresses an issue that sparked passionate debate in Putnam County. Earlier this year and last year, that is the future of farming. Agriculture has always been a part of our county's heritage, but in recent years, questions about land use, the agricultural district, and the viability of farms in Putnam County have led to unnecessary lawsuits, controversy, and frustration. This year, the county resolved several lawsuits that rightfully resulted in the admission of multiple farms into the agricultural district. At the time, my administration had already held a Future of Farming roundtable where members of this legislature were invited and that brought together farmers, agricultural leaders, and local officials from across the region. It was not always an easy conversation, but it was a necessary one. Out of it came a set of clear steps that county government should take to better support farming. We updated the farming page on the county website to make information more accurate and accessible. We identified funding to create a new county farmland protection plan to replace the outdated plan that is now more than 20 years old. We still need to update the county's local law on agricultural district admissions, specifically removing restrictive soil requirements that had prevented otherwise viable farms from being admitted. A draft updated local law has already been provided to the legislature to accomplish this, and I eagerly await its consideration and action on the matter. But perhaps most importantly, I am excited to announce we have reached an agreement partnering with Cornell Cooperative Extension, funded as part of this budget, for Cornell to take on a new responsibility in order to further support Putnam County's agricultural needs as an agricultural navigator. This will provide a dedicated point of contact and a resource for current and future farmers to help them navigate the process, to assist in effectively and correctly file applications to be considered into the Ag District, and to connect them to opportunities, and serve as a hands-on partner for anyone looking to keep agriculture alive and thriving in Putnam County. These reforms and investments are not abstract. They are a direct result of listening to our farmers, identifying obstacles, and committing to do better. Farming will never be easy in Putnam County. Our geography and land costs guarantee that, but it will always be possible, and it will always be valued. With this budget, we are ensuring that farming and agriculture remains part of Putnam's future, not just its past. Part of standing up for our values means honoring Putnam County's unique place in American history. Our county motto is "Where the country begins," for good reason. The amazing people who called this place home contributed to the world-changing events that ultimately led to American independence nearly 250 years ago. Now, some of you may notice our namesake, General Israel Putnam, known for many accomplishments, including his service at the Battle of Bunker Hill, is not joining us for this speech. The large mural that normally hangs to my right is absent today. That's because General Putnam is traveling throughout the county for planned exhibits at Putnam History Museum, Southeast Museum, and Laura Spain Cornerstone Memorial Park. In 2026, thanks in part to funding in this year's budget, we will work to fully restore our beloved Sybil Ludington statue on the banks of Lake Glenida. This project and others are made possible thanks to the leadership and philanthropy of our revolutionary Putnam County Advisory Committee, especially its two chairs, former Governor George Pataki and Garrison resident George Whipple. Together, their committee has ensured that Sybil will ride again. With their support, Putnam County will also roll out a truly memorable event, a large-scale Revolutionary War reenactment at Veterans Memorial Park in June next year. Across the country, communities are gearing up to commemorate this historic occasion, and here in Putnam, we are doing our part. Our county may be small in size, but it is rich in history. Thank you to our historian, Jennifer Cassidy, and Director of Tourism, Tara Keegan, for all you have accomplished already and for all you aim to accomplish next year as we make Putnam We will make Putnam a destination for those hungry to learn about our place in American history. This county-wide commemoration will be one that honors our past while inspiring our future. By shining a light on Putnam's revolutionary history, we remind ourselves and our children that liberty, independence, and self-government were hard-won, and that each generation has a responsibility to defend and strengthen them. This administration has never been afraid to take on tough challenges. We have never shied away from rethinking how government can and should work. And we have never lost sight of our most important responsibilities: to make Putnam County more active, affordable, accountable, and accessible for all. That is why this budget delivers the largest property tax cut in our county's history. It's also why anyone can go on our budget transparency website to see in plain sight how and where their tax dollars are being spent. And once again, it's why I will be conducting another budget town hall, just as I did last year, to communicate and respond directly to residents, this time at Southeast Town Hall. All are welcome to join us on Wednesday, October 8th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. For years, families have carried the weight of state and federal mandates, of inflation, of rising costs across the board. Today, I am proud to say that in Putnam County, we are doing something different. We are providing relief, meaningful relief with historic cuts. We're doing it responsibly, sustainably, and in a way that prepares us for the future. Yes, we are mindful of potential shortfalls, from dips in sales tax revenues to funding uncertainties from the state and federal governments. We've dealt with these challenges before, and we are positioned well should we need to, to address them again. In Putnam County, we are proving that local government can innovate, that it can protect essential services while also putting money back into the pockets of taxpayers. That is what this budget does, and that is the standard this administration will continue to uphold. So today, as we begin the process of reviewing and ultimately adopting the budget, I ask for your partnership. In the legislature, in our towns and villages, and throughout the community, let us come together, as we have so many times before, to do what is right for the people we serve. This is not the end of our story. It is just the beginning of what we can achieve when we work together. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive, for this budget presentation. I appreciate all your comments. At this time, I would like to ask if any legislators have any questions or comments. Legislator Yonke.
County Executive, thank you very much for the presentation. In it, it says that the tax rate will be reduced to $2.39.
Yeah, per $1,000 of assessed value.
I did a quick check. I looked up a random tax bills. Right now, the county tax rate is $2.34.
The budget that was approved is a tax rate, I believe, of $2.70, but we can confirm that with Commissioner Carlin.
Okay, because it looks like it's an increase over last year.
No, there's a 20-year history that we provide with the budget every year. We can get that to you, certainly, and we'll show you the 20-year history of not just the tax levy, but also of the mill rate, which for those that don't know, and I know you understand this, the mill rate is the tax rate that this county and Dutchess County and Orange County uses. Not every county uses this, but it is the dollars in the levy per $1,000 in assessed value of a property.
And are you using a blended mill rate?
It's the same mill rate formula that we've been using for as long as I can remember in Putnam County.
Okay.
We can certainly give you more details as well as that 20-year history and give it to you in writing as well.
Okay, because I just did a random bill in Town of Carmel. It was $2.34.
If you're looking with other towns and villages, this is the county mill rate. This is not accounting for schools or anything else. We don't have oversight over the other municipalities.
Thank you. Any other legislators have questions or comments? Legislator Montgomery.
The short version or the long version? It's hard to develop questions. You know, we just received this. I haven't even actually looked at the budget. It's available online as of today, I'm assuming? The budget?
Yes.
Okay. So we haven't reviewed that. We're just getting it today, and this presentation gives us a real thorough outlook for what to expect in the next month as we hopefully deliberate and collaborate is what I'm looking forward to. I do want to acknowledge that our legislative clerk, Diane Schoenfeld, announced her retirement as well. And I really appreciate, especially heading into budget, all of the work that she's done over the years in preparing us to do the budget as the whole staff. And so we wish her well. This is her last budget address, so I wanted to acknowledge that. But also, it takes a lot of work to keep us on track. And with that, the long version, as legislators, our first and most important responsibility is to ensure that this budget serves the people of Putnam County, families, seniors, small businesses, workers, and the many not-for-profits and volunteers who hold our community together. I want to approach this budget process in the spirit of collaboration. While we may come from different parties or perspectives, our shared goal must be strong and sustainable for the future of Putnam County. Over the past 7 years that I've served as the only Democrat elected to the county government, I've seen too often how political differences can get in the way of good policy. We cannot afford that now. The people of Putnam County expect us to work together, and I believe they deserve a budget that reflects this balance, fairness, and foresight, especially during these difficult times when families are struggling with rising costs and local municipalities are pressed to deliver more services with fewer resources. So as we move forward in reviewing this proposal, I will be looking closely at several priorities that have repeatedly surfaced in past budgets: transparency and accessibility, shared sales tax sharing and municipal support. Year after year, our towns and villages have asked for a fair share of the sales tax revenues they help generate. This remains a central concern. While I appreciate the actions taken this year, I think we still have some more to go on that. Local governments are on the front lines of providing services, and we should treat them as true partners. And I really appreciate the efforts and resources this year that have gone into our local not-for-profits, because they truly are the backbone of our communities. It's what makes us so rich and interesting, filled with education and culture. The other priority is emergency services and public safety. We know how critical our volunteer and professional first responders are, and for years I've advocated for measures like recognizing EMS as essential. Adequate funding and support must be a priority and not an afterthought. So I welcome this new paramedicine program, and I'm really interested to see how it will work throughout the county and how it can support our local departments. Because like our local municipalities, you know, our county has a big budget, and our local departments and fire departments and ambulance corps don't. Infrastructure and environmental resilience, road safety, climate smart projects, past budgets have sometimes underinvested in long-term needs. So hopefully we'll have a budget that not only balances the books today, but prepares us for the future. There's a huge list of vehicles that we have in the back of our book here. It's like 3 pages long of just the number of vehicles we have. So looking forward to building the infrastructure for electric vehicles and an electric fleet that will help keep us and prepare us for the future. And our fiscal responsibility, lastly, Putnam has at times carried large surpluses without adequately reinvesting them in our communities. While maintaining a healthy fund balance is wise, our responsibility is also to return that to the taxpayer in the form of services, infrastructure improvements that strengthen the quality of life. I'm looking forward to bringing more of those services to the west side of the county. Maybe some more DMV mobile services and health services is always something that I advocate for. I hope this year's budget reflects those lessons learned and things that we missed out on because of our differences. My pledge is to review it carefully, ask fair questions, and work collaboratively with my colleagues and with you, Mr. County Executive, to ensure the final product meets the needs of every resident in Putnam County. Thank you.
Thanks. I don't know if there was a specific question, but there's a lot in this budget. Obviously, I can't talk about it all here in the one presentation, but you'll find something I think that is helpful for the county clerk's office to be able to expand its some of its services. So it'll be interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from other legislators? Okay. Once again, I would like to thank our county executive for his presentation of the tentative 2026 budget. We look forward to reviewing these in our proposed budget hearings during our legislative committee meetings, which are scheduled to begin Monday, October the 6th, 2025. They will be held in room 318 at the county office building. We remind the public to please check the calendar at the legislature webpage for dates and times for budget meetings scheduled for this month. A public hearing will be held on the tentative budget as presented by the county executive this afternoon, immediately following this meeting. It will be held by the Budget and Finance Committee of the Putnam County Legislature. If there are no further comments from our legislators, I would like to make a motion to close this meeting. Do I have a second? Legislator Montgomery, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
comment?
Amy. Good afternoon, and welcome to the October 1st, 2025 Budget and Finance Committee meeting of the Putnam County Legislature. This is a public hearing on the 2026 tentative budget as presented by the county executive. Please join me and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd ask Legislator Birmingham to lead us, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Present.
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 Here.
Present. Here.
Present.
Present. I'd like to request that the clerk read the public notice.
Notice is hereby given that the Budget and Finance Committee of the Legislature of the County of Putnam will hold a public hearing on the tentative budget for the year 2026 on Wednesday, October 1st, 2025 at 1 p.m. or immediately following the county executive's budget presentation to the committee at the historic courthouse, Glenida Avenue, Palmer, New York. Notice is also given that any interested persons may review a copy of the tentative budget for the year 2026 at the office of the clerk of Putnam County Legislature, room 321, 40 Glenida Avenue, Palmer, New York, anytime during regular business hours after October 1st, 2025, or on the Putnam County Finance Department's website at close of business day, October 2nd, 2025, by order of the Putnam County Legislature.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to
Invite anyone who wishes to speak regarding the proposed 2026 tentative budget to come up to the microphone and state your name and the town in which you reside. I request that you please fill out this information on the sign-in sheet at the podium. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on the 2026 proposed budget presentation?
There's no purple crayon.
Who's got the budget?
If there's no one who wishes to comment, I would like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Back to work.